Hamid-WN2JF asks, do you know the top 3 strongest characters in Grimgar? Funny thing is, I think I made a video like judging like who the strongest characters in Grimgar actually were. I did that over on TikTok, but I don't recall ever doing anything like that here on YouTube. I've done like Haru's party and who is the strongest in Haru's party and who is like the weakest, but I've never actually talked about the top 3 strongest characters in Grimgar, which it's mainly because Grimgar is not really power scaly, I guess is the best way to say it. For the record, I'm not much of a power scaler. I always find power scaling as a concept very, very stupid, especially when it doesn't really vibe very well with like the story that is being power scaled. Before I go on a rant about how much I dislike power scaling, I will talk about the top 3 strongest characters in Grimgar, but I will say that the term strongest is a little ambiguous here. If we're going based off of just what we've seen to be physically the strongest in terms of like lifting strength and stuff like that, it's probably either Kajira or maybe possibly Kuzuku if we're going off of just like what they've done in the story alone. Kajira because he's able to like lift a sword like that's about almost 3 times his body size, and he's already a tall ass dude. Or Kuzuku because when he actually really puts his back into it and swings with both hands on a weapon, is able to cut through things like it's nothing. And in terms of physical strength, he's been compared to Moguzu, and Moguzu has been, and it's heavily implied through the story that Moguzu, if his full potential was actually reached, he could actually either match up to Renji or even surpass Renji. And Renji has been compared to the top tiers in the universe in terms of like what he's heading towards, essentially. But if we're going off of pure killing power that we have seen in the story, then it's probably Chihiro. And I know I've mentioned this in other videos before, and I'm sorry about that, but I have to talk about this again. She was dropped on 2 armies. One was a whole army of volunteer soldiers. The other army was undead, orcs, and goblins, and a bunch of other monsters. Her main target was the army of orcs, but she ended up killing the entire army of orcs plus about a little bit around half of the volunteer soldiers, and she didn't even mean to kill the volunteer soldiers. They were just in the way. Her dark tentacles, just by touching you, basically eviscerated you. You just turned into like nothing. Harahiro got really close to her to try talking to her and try to like talk her down, and a tentacle just briefly brushed by his nose and it burned the top layer of his skin of his nose. It wasn't even direct contact. It just was like just slightly next to his nose. It didn't actually touch it. But if we're talking about like one-on-one fighting, probably Soma, because Soma's got such insane skill, and the chances of him killing everyone else on this list is just through the roof. The only 2 people that I'm aware of that have a serious chance of being able to beat Soma is probably Chihiro and the next character I'm going to talk about, but it's really up in the air. We really have no idea. We also don't really know how much more Soma can do. We've only seen Soma be really, really fast and being able to chop off limbs off of a Hydra like it's nothing. And he's just heavily implied to be the strongest volunteer soldier. Actually, he's not even implied. He just straight up stated to be the strongest volunteer soldier out of everyone. And he's able to back it up. But we lack any level of feats to really show that he can take on Chihiro, especially since she could just kind of touch him and kill him like with one touch. We have no idea. The only other possibility that can actually be in the top 3 would be the No Life King, which in terms of the story and what it's telling us is the strongest living character in Grimgar. Ironically, it's the No Life King. And I know the term living is kind of ambiguous here, but the No Life King has, in terms of lore, is implied to be stronger than everyone on this list. We, however, have absolutely no idea what else he can do besides bring people back to life and turn them into pseudo-undead or full-on undead. We're not really sure what Kuzuku and Satora is right now. They're kind of like a weird breed of new undead. We don't know. We just do know that because of the No Life King, the other races that are not human were almost able to take over Grimgar because the No Life King gave them power and gave them a reason to fight. And we also know that the No Life King doesn't actually want to hurt people, really. They're just kind of trying to chill and be friends with humanity. But we don't know anything other than that. We just know they're trying to get a specific item to make it so the world stops trying to erase them, which I have to make an entirely different video on that concept later on. But currently, the No Life King is not really trying to hurt anybody, and we don't really know what else that he can actually do. Or they, I guess. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's kind of just a black slime thing in Mary's body currently. But for me, if I had to guess the top 3 in order, in terms of like what we have seen in like feats, it would be Chihiro, Soma, and the No Life King. But if we're going based off of pure lore and what we know the story is trying to imply, it would be the No Life King, Soma, and then Chihiro. But for me personally, if I had to actually take a personal guess at what I feel like it actually is, it would be the No Life King, Shiharu, and then Soma. But if we take Soma's entire party into account, it would probably be the entire party, and then the No Life King, and then Shiharu. If I'm being entirely honest, also, characters like Jumbo is somewhere in the mix too, but we just kind of don't know if he's able to compete really with characters like Soma. I feel like, for me personally, Jumbo's probably gonna kill Akira in volume 20 or 21. I'm feeling it, which, by the way, expect a video of me talking about theories and what I do and what I do not want for the next couple volumes of Grimgar in the next couple weeks. But thank you for your question. If you guys want to ask more questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll make sure to answer them in future videos. And if you want to see more content like this, please hit the like button, share it to me in the comments down below, and make sure to hit the Amazon affiliate link in the comments down below or in the description, and you can get your own copy of Grimgar. Plus, it will help me make some money, and it would make me very happy. And thank you to all my Twitch subscribers for your assistance with my bills. I love you. If you want to get shouted out at the end of the video, make sure to either use the thanks feature here on YouTube or subscribe to our Twitch. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. Bye.